Hello, 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 everybody. So, welcome to the channel and Twitch and YouTube, and hope everybody's doing well. Kind of get started off here. Got a little bit of wheat harvest going on today. Good. Make sure you gotta watch both ways before you cross the road. You've got a little bit of hay action, straw action going on. My bad. So. But to get right into it, Eli, 2150S. So we have definitely discussed that here for a while. We discussed it for 22. It would be another awesome thing. Another awesome planer to have for sure. That, being able to go into the 30-foot and 40-foot planers would be a nice compliment. Hello, Joe Mama. It's good to see you again. Thanks for hopping in on the chat today. Yeah, I would say converting things is going to start happening here pretty quick since G's been released. Which, I mean, that's how what it should have been called today is Happy Giants Editor Day since it finally got dropped. So that's going to be super exciting. Really pumped to get some mods out. The 595 are basically the 5 series on Steigers. I would say that we should be. We'll see if it's more of a collaboration with Carl Farms again, or I'm gonna guess that's gonna be his baby, considering he already has the basis with the AFS Connect. And your big things that change between the series is the hood, and since he did the 715. I figured it'd probably be the easiest transition for him. But we shall see. Yes, the baler should be going testing. I haven't heard about how that's gone yet. I do know that we've been anticipating doing a stream showcasing on FS25, which we may be doing a little bit of showcasing of Wind Chaser 2. I may or may not be toying with that, getting a field set up to run that stream. But yeah, super excited for that's going to be coming out. Still super excited about the planer that's going to be coming out. Hey there, Austin. How are you doing, bud? I think the 2160 is coming along pretty nicely. I don't know if the decision's been made yet to go to 22 and 25. Man, it'd be nice to have it in 25, but I'm just it's almost too big of a planer for some of these small fields. But I am very excited for some maps to start coming out, and thankful that editor's finally coming up. It sounds like, Jim Mama, since we are going to release that baler on 22, we'll probably continue to support some mods for a while. Like all things, eventually all that's going to end, but can't give exact when. There's one thing that Horseplay has over the new AI help is definitely the combine side. like where it would normally would have notched out for us, so that I could have gotten up beside the combine to unload. Could have been a lot better. I'm probably just gonna unload it enough to let it go down so I can catch it on the other end here. Yeah, Iowa, the map side of the game is probably the most painful part about 25 right now. Although I do really like this map. I think if you start paying attention to small details and watching the barges go by and all that stuff, it is a super nice map. It's clearly not where we want it to be, but but after playing 22 all day and then coming back over to 25, I still feel like 25 is the biggest, probably the biggest leap between farm sims in a while. Like, to be honest with you, I really missed Giants version of the GPS on the tractor over the GPS mod. Oh, that was awesome. I hear you, Joe. Like I said, it's still a collective of us, so I'm not going to know everything that the other guys are going to know, and I'm sure that they'd love to answer questions to you guys, but they got a lot of traffic on Facebook, and unfortunately there's quite a few people that want to just be on Facebook to whine. So, Iowa, and what's your opinion why you think they're so atrocious? Like, I feel like there's a lot of life here. I get there's some issues that they need to be tweaked on and fixed, and you know, that combine just randomly stopping out of nowhere is annoying, but I think whenever you actually go around and pay attention to the map, it's in my opinion, still pretty nice for especially for a Giants map. So, no Huber. You play on both PC and PS5. What's the reasoning behind that? If you don't mind me asking. I don't blame you, Joe. Yeah, we really did get a lot of mods for 22. I was scrolling through my list yesterday, but I feel like with the ground deformation, even though it's not Mud Runner-esque like some people want, like it's perfect for me because it changes enough to where I've got to be actually thinking of how I'm going to do a field, make sure I'm not going to be doing like do my headlands last instead of do my headlands first, try to stay off of where I've already ran. It's brought a different feeling of actually having to run equipment in the field and doing it intelligently, in my opinion. I think that right there is going to change gameplay enough to satisfy me to kind of live with the lack of mods here for a while. But really hoping that the Giants editor is going to make converting super quick and easy. And yes, it is the crown round baler. Yeah, okay. I can understand your point on that, Iowa. But what I'm ready for is whenever they finally make the step up and they work with, instead of like having barges and stuff move, which is nice. I like the feel of it. Whenever you're out doing other stuff and you can see other things on the map doing something instead of you being the only one on the map, it's a step in the right direction. I think the ultimate end goal should be like being able to see other farms running, not on multiplayer, on base game, while you're doing stuff. Instead of just fast forwarding and up, okay, there's the neighbor's crops completely out. Didn't get to see any of that or anything like that. I think being able to see different operations run would be awesome. And we're going to be looking to, we'll be looking to get mods out soon. I'm not going to put a date or a timeline. As we noted earlier, the baler is going to be coming out for 22. It's in testing right now, so we'll see whenever that ends up getting released. I guess the question, why we don't focus too much on New Holland. I think Fab has kind of hit me up on that quite a few times, or hit us up. Just kind of, I like red paint, so Case IH, John Deere's obviously the hot commodity that everybody wants to have. I think we had the New Holland Combine there on 22, there at the end of 19 too. So it's not that we haven't done any New Holland stuff. It's just not been as focused because clearly the Case is the more dominant brand. And then you get to start looking at the differences between Case and New Holland, and they get to be a little bit minimal. I think going a chopper probably wouldn't be a terrible route. I think for our so our game plan for 25 is going to continue pushing out mods. You'll probably see a lot of converts first. Probably our plan. I imagine our first mod that's going to end up getting released for 25 is going to be the John Deere baler. Possibly the planner after that. I won't say what else is in the works right now, but there's some exciting things that are coming along. But I 100% agree with you, Iowa. I think it probably would take too many resources, and it'd probably lag the game a lot. So I feel like we're probably, honestly, a decade, in my opinion, if we ever end up seeing that at all, just because of the resources it's going to take to be able to run all of your farm, then run on all of somebody else's farms, and then on somebody else's farm, are they just predicated to only using in-game stuff? People complain about that because you'll want to see other farmers using mods. But then if you got a broken mod somewhere, it's going to destroy the whole game. So I can definitely see on the developmental side why they've kind of pulled back a little bit on that. Or if they don't do it at all, how about that? And yes, Joe, they all use the same Iveco motors. The monitors are all the same. They get called different. It's like an IntelliView monitor instead of a Pro monitor. they do layouts a little bit different just to be different enough. Actually, the whole control side. So if you look inside a Case tractor and then the New Holland tractor, the controls are different enough to make you feel like you're actually in a different tractor, but everything is still so close to being similar. I do feel like the blue really doesn't get the love that it probably ought to, but that's in real life too, especially what resources C&H puts towards Case versus what they put towards New Holland. Yeah, to be honest with you, John, on the beginning YouTube, I'm kind of right there with you. I'm new to this, new to streaming. Kind of taking everything as it comes, trying to learn, see how I can provide the best content for you guys. And I don't disagree, Iowa, on if it was a PC only game, but I think you would alienate a ton of people just keeping it away from consoles. There's games that have had success, obviously, just staying away from consoles, but all you hear is people crying for that game to be released to consoles. But I think with the mods and the lack of mods that you see on console versus what you get on PC should make anybody want to make the switch over to PC. Actually, as a matter of fact, I was a console player for a long time and ended up going PC mainly because I wanted to be able to, you know, play on some of these modded maps and farms and tractors and everything like that that the PC had to offer that you couldn't get on consoles. So me personally, that was one of my early on things. Like I dabbled with PC back in like, what is it, FS09 or the original Farm Sim, and then kind of trickled down. But I still think it would be tough for them to alienate all consoles. I think actually Giants is wanting to be a engine company more so than anything else, from my understanding. That's actually, if I recall correctly, that's how Giants started everything, was, and why they brought up Farm Sim, was so that they could showcase their game engines and try to get it out to people. But they ended up having a lot of interest with Farm Sim, so they ended up, you know, fully developing the game, and obviously that's been a pretty good move for them. I don't think they're ever going to have the budget to go as wide scale as like GTA 6 would be. I mean, holy crap, that's took Rockstar, a multi-billion-dollar company, how many years, and we still haven't seen GTA 6? It's going to be massive, and it's going to be awesome, but that took a lot of resources and a lot of money. Heck, if you had to pay for the microtransactions that you do in Grand Theft Auto to continue to support a company, everybody would be mad about it. Because, I mean, really, Giants, they get the base game, and it's really up to modders, in my opinion, that drive the game as a whole. Otherwise, this game would be dead a couple months after release, because it'd just be going up, down, up and down, up and down with the exact same equipment every time. It'd get old. Be honest with you, I think there's a lot of people too that compare it to like mud runners, and mud runners is cool for what it is, right? I think having that amount of ground deformation here would be such a pain in the butt. Like, okay, you farmed one time and you got some ruts, and now you can't get a tractor through because the ruts are so deep. That's not super realistic. Like, yeah, you can be muddy and you go through a field. If you're doing farm, like a dairy farm or cattle or something like that, and you're going out and feeding and you're leaving huge ruts, okay, that part gets realistic, but you only get those deep ruts after continual use again and again and again and again of going over the exact same spot to feed. You don't really see that nearly as frequently in just like typical row crop farms. Now, what I'd really like to see, though, would be compaction more so. So if you utilized the ground deformation, and underneath that it created a hard pan of compaction where we saw reduced yield, and then you could go as far as, instead of having to plow an entire field, being able to go and plow just where there is continual compaction to get our yield back up. That's something I would love to see. Thanks for the love, Grizzy. How are you doing, Jeremiah? Yeah, I do understand that it does reset, but on Mud Runner, I just don't think it would be a great feature to go more in depth with the destruction. I'm sure eventually it's going to get to the, like, modders or somebody's going to release something that'll have a greater impact with it, but like I said, some people basically want farm sim with mud runners, and I'm not one of those people. Yeah, I agree. I think I saw somebody had already scripted to where you're destroying stubble as you drove across it, like stalks and everything like that. That'd be something I should probably look into and getting edited myself, because I think that's something that's definitely brings another level of realism to the game as a whole. I will say too, the sounds on FS25 are so much better than what they are on 22. Field tile would be pretty cool. I put in a lot of field tile in real life. Never been a thing where I'm like, I really want that in game. I've done that stuff enough and didn't love it enough to where I don't even want it to be in a game to sim. But the effects of, you know, putting it in to see better drainage and everything, it would be a really cool like addition with the precision farming. What do I think about adding vehicle damage similar to mud runners? So I don't have a ton of time with mud runners, but the way I pretty much understand it is like there's actual collision damage where if you hit something, it's gonna dent a bumper, stuff like that. Eh, not super crazy of the idea of that, to be honest with you. What I would be more interested in is seeing like actual repairs happen, actual breakdowns of the equipment, like, hey, you know, flat, not necessarily a flat tire, but if, you know, you didn't service your engine, you know, didn't do oil changes or anything like that, then you end up blowing an engine, a turbo goes bad, then you're dead in the middle of the field trying to figure out what the repair cost of that would be versus, you know, what you get on just trading in the piece of equipment and going to new. Heck, what I think would be really, really cool, but it's like if you had a failure on a row unit on your planner, and so load cell went bad on your planner or whatever, that row on didn't plant the depth that it was supposed to, and then you'd actually see a yield loss following that one singular row if you weren't actually getting out and checking things. Doubt we ever see anything like that, but it would be pretty cool. The M Deere series tractor. So I think you're talking like what would be like a 6145M instead of the R. Uh, I believe that's the model number. It's been several years ago. I think probably about 6 years ago. Where I'd worked, we had upgraded. I'd say upgraded, but we had went from a Farmall 120C to that 6145, and it was a pretty decent tractor all around. I will give it that. Uh, I wouldn't. I would definitely not hate actually getting the choice and the chance to do the repairs yourself instead of just coming up and hitting, click R to repair all. But I think it'd give a better element to keeping equipment around, because as it says, we just kind of continually upgrade. You know, okay, run this tractor or combine for 2 weeks, and then, well, not 2 years, about like two calendar years on the game, and then we're upgrading to the next and going to the next. I think seeing what actual hours and usage and everything like that would be on equipment to keep it around longer would be nice. My problem with like incorporating like the construction side of everything is you then using Farm Simulator for not Farm Simulator stuff. You know what I'm saying? Uh, you're making something that it wasn't supposed to be and not designed for. Is what I'd see. Not crazy about. Now, what I'll say back to the that 6M series and the 6R series, and we'll go back to the case because I'm obviously a case guy. But heck, Maxims though, like if you compare that same series tractor to a Maxim, I think it's the much superior tractor personally. Don't want that. See, I'll disagree on the thing that breaks on a planter. It's usually nothing that actually breaks on the planter. It's usually the person never actually getting out to check and inspect the planter and to dig for seed and see what seed placement is, and a continuous like making sure that things are working the way they're supposed to. I think guys just being too lazy to get out of the cab and get down and dig is one of the biggest issues of planting. Because you got to remember too, whenever you get into planting, you have one chance to get it in the ground correctly, and that's it. So why guys don't have a bigger emphasis on understanding that is beyond me. But like I said, that's coming from a world of working on the equipment. I've mowed hay on a contract earlier. It was I used that MacDon deal, and it was pretty slick. You could really get going pretty fast with it. I did not love the turning radius with it though. I've yet to really sit down and get a hay field and start doing hay. I kind of wanted to do a cattle farm playthrough at some point, but I'm kind of reserving that for whenever we release our new baler. And from then I'll probably start doing a cattle farm, get more into silage and straw and everything like that. Honestly, still kind of building up this farm. Sometimes I forget how long it takes without cheating to build a farm up the way that you want it to. I'll, I'll agree with that, Jeremiah. Windrows do seem to affect the equipment quite a bit, really. Like, you would definitely notice it some going through fields and whatnot, but it's probably a little bit exaggerated. But I think that's kind of the point, because if it was more subtle, you probably wouldn't pay attention to it and see it on the outside of the tractor, but first person you would. And then before you know, you'd have people complaining that they don't see any ground deformation, or it's not that big of a deal, or anything like that. Hello, Blaze. How we doing today? I'll say I am really ready for some flatbed trailers with auto load. I think that first field I did the small square bale, and I had to pick up every single bale by hand. And sheesh, it was not the funnest thing I've ever done. Yeah, Jeremy. I feel like sometimes they have to exaggerate things a little bit just to make a player base a little bit happier about things, I guess I should say. And it also could be a thing that they don't fully understand themselves. I'm not going to say that's the reason, but wonder if there's any good baling contracts or anything right now. Try and make a little bit more money with the equipment we have. There's bale wrapping. Kind of looks like our biggest thing is this bale wrapping contract. What do you think, guys? Should we do it? $8,600 probably wouldn't be too bad for us. That's going to be a quick job. Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. We're a little on the poor side anyways. We could use the whatever money we can get. Honestly, the smart move would probably be buying this field, leaving it as hay, and doing a big silage thing. Silage, I don't know what it is on this map and everything, but man, silage is a moneymaker. And like I said, yesterday I was playing Wind Chaser. I was getting a map set up, and I think whenever we get the okay to do that stream, I think you guys are going to like it. I had a lot of fun with it already. I'll ask. How excited are some of you guys that we have all sorts of different crops now, being carrots, parsnips, peas, uh, some more exotic equipment. Do you think that was the right move to Giants go ahead and spend all those resources on that stuff, or should they have stayed with the more traditional stuff? I think rice is probably a little, it was needed, but I take it you're talking about how the net rep would need to be manually added, Joe, kind of like what the baled swine mod would do. I think Killer. By the way, it's we're looking at doing some converts and possibly the new John Deere baler. It's probably going to hit 22 first. It was both Giants editor. Maybe we wait and see. Uh, just release them both at the same time. That'd be pretty awesome. One of our first mods come out, that baler, within a pretty quick turnaround would be nice. And just release both at the same time. Because otherwise, what I'm envisioning happening is somebody will just take the baler straight from 22, convert it themselves, and then try to throw it up, and everybody gets it before we have the chance to release it. By the way, what do you guys prefer more in rep play? Do you guys prefer rep play in first person or third person? First person obviously gives a little bit better, more realistic feel to it all, but sometimes it's a little bit harder. I believe it's going to have the same options to where you can have net wrap or no net wrap, or I guess twine or no twine. To me, I like it set as a consumable, to where you actually have to utilize and you're paying for something. You're just not going to continually run a machine and twine's just going to come out of nowhere and wrapped, you know. I do really like that they incorporated that in the base game on 25. Well, I'm supposed to do that. There we go. I personally, if I had to choose between a 6R, 7R, AR, probably choose a Magnum, but you know, probably a 7R, honestly. I feel like a 6R gets tossed around a little bit more. It'll do it, but it's a little bit lighter and on the small side, personally, frame-wise goes. So I'd shoot after a 7. The 7Rs are very nice tractors. Like I said, I'd still probably take an Optum or a small frame Magnum, but you know, that's my personal bias. And hello there, Kobe Gaming. Do we have one more hay bale somewhere? Yep, I missed it. Ooh, another thing that they need to get patched on one of their big first updates is getting the kilometer an hour and mile per hour matched up with the cruise control. Drives me crazy. Especially when I'm trying to set max for cruise control. And there we do be. It's $8 grand. I would kind of like to use one of these. Yeah, even though I don't, it's not going to be very much my own, $2 grand, whatever. But I've not done a hoeing contract yet, so let's go ahead and try this one. I'll definitely toast to that the green paint is cult-like. What I say is, you know, you're drinking that green Kool-Aid. I don't think they've got any better product than anybody else on the market. I don't think there's very much that they do better than anybody else, especially when you start getting into the harvest side of things. But I think they've just done such a great job marketing. I mean, they don't just apply to farmers. I mean, they'll get your the guys running John Deere lawnmowers, zero-turn mowers, like small stuff like that. That, you know, I don't think that they make a ton of money off of that stuff, but I think they end up getting brand loyalty off that stuff, and that brand loyalty will end up turning into a cult-like following, in my opinion. They got the audio sound wrong for the Case IH auto guidance. It's right, but it's wrong. So it's right for a Pro 700. It's wrong for a Pro 1200. The sound's changed quite a bit. But I do really appreciate the fact that it's not the exact same auto steer sound for every tractor. But Eli was talked about earlier. The 2150S has definitely been talked about. The Steiger series, though, I feel like it's probably on Carl Farm's agenda, honestly. I wouldn't hate going to and doing a John Deere 1795, even though I'm sitting here talking crap about John Deere. I still am, I still don't hate John Deere. I've driven them a lot in my life. It's actually what I grew up around. But, yeah, I definitely feel like it would be a worthy thing to spend our time and develop and do, but we'll see. I do like the fact that they incorporated the dual Pro 1200s. Like right now, that's what's going to be a pretty common feature. So whenever the AFS Connect stuff first came out, it was just a single display. But if you order a tractor now, it's pretty much for sure going to come with a second Pro 1200 display. It's really nice, especially when we're doing a bunch of pretty ISO heavy stuff. Having the displays split out for you for better visualization of information is super, super handy. Speaking of Class Lexions, I would like to see what they do to compete against like the AF11 and the AF10. Honestly, I wasn't sold on them being a better combine than what the John Deere X9 was. I think whenever you're doing Class 9 machine versus Class 9 machine, and you're just doing corn, the Lexions were pretty solid machines. But I think once you get into that Class 10, Class 11 side, I don't feel like that machine holds up comparative. So they've got to be working on something on the fence side. And I doubt it's going to be a Kloss or Lexion. It'll be that big Fent combine. I'm really, really ready for some bigger plows to come out too. Man, I am so sick and tired of having to deal with these 6-meter plows. That is one thing I never had to do. Places I worked, nobody did non-GMO, so everybody was still spraying and everything, so we didn't have to worry about it. But I do have some customers that still rotary hoe and for weeding. That is definitely an interesting job. Now, I have had guys who rotary hoe if they plant soybeans and there's a hard rain that comes up and ends up putting a crust on there. Then it seems like all heck breaks out and everybody's looking for a small tractor to run this rotary hoe on a couple hundred acres so that they don't have to replant to break up that crust. That's always a fun one and never fails. It ends up happening right around Memorial Day weekend for me. So what's supposed to be a holiday weekend ends up turning into having to work the whole time. Oof, I knew that was going to happen. I turned too soon. Oof. Very, very excited that Giants editor finally came out today. I couldn't believe that they waited so long. I figured it was going to be within that same week. So I figured last Friday that we were going to get Giants editors. I didn't think they were going to wait all the way until couldn't see about running that car. But I'm just glad that they finally did release it. I do feel bad for them to an extent, because I imagine they're going to spend the next several weeks hammering out approving mods. I'm kind of with you, Goose. That new fence sprayer is super nice. I've gotten a chance to go out and work on one. The things they do and the way it's set up, I mean, it's a rear boom sprayer, but it can be jacked up to operate like what a Miller or a Haggy is. I'm going to be pretty curious what Fent ends up doing for technology in ATCO, because they bought Trimble. Well, a lot of the stuff on their sprayer is still Raven. So I've got to think that that's going to have to end at some point in time. But between you guys and me, I don't trust Trimble for any applications, stuff like that. So we shall see how that's going to end up turning out. Joe, the next stream, I'm really hoping that it's another one within the coming days. I think no matter what, I'm probably going to stream again tomorrow, hopefully. Probably a little bit later, around my time, noonish. But we are still anticipating on doing a stream for the new John Deere balers. So definitely keep an eye out on that on our socials. We'll release and say that we're going to end up doing a showcase for that mod. But for now, I think you ought to see a lot of streams coming up, and especially next week. I'll probably stream every single day next week. That would be really cool, Eli. Because I think as it sits right now, it's basically just the trees that show broken off and everything like that. God, that would be... We're talking like old Battlefield kind of destruction, essentially, to where it's going to get knocked out and you'll have buildings just absolutely get destroyed. The crop insurance aspect of it, though, could be really, really, really cool. I would love to see that figured out, to where if it goes through your field and it takes out a bunch of crop, well, if you didn't carry insurance, obviously you're hosed. You're not going to get any of it back. But if you did carry insurance, then you'll get paid for it. Because that's the real-life gamble, right? We don't know if we're going to end up getting hail or anything like that that's going to damage your crop, so usually guys will carry insurance. Well, who knows if that's actually going to happen, but all it usually takes is 1 year to pay for it, and then you'll carry insurance for ever. See, I'm surprised your co-op is going to stick with Road Gators because it's the same essential company now with the new Fent. But it's definitely cool to swear. They've got what's called an air knife system, which is pretty cool. So I don't know if you guys know, but like Raven has what's called a BSN, and what it is, it's a camera that gets mounted up to by the tire, or it could be in the middle of the machine, depending on the machine. But it sees the crop and then it steers based off the crop. Well, whenever you get into taller corn, that camera is not high enough and it can't distinguish enough because you have leaves that are folded over and touching rows. So the canopies, it gets fully canopied, and then that VSN can't differentiate between the crop and the dirt. So they put on these radar sensors on the bottom by the wheels, and then those radar sensors will steer your tires for you. Well, what ends up happening is as you're going through the field, if you've got a damp day or whatever, mud and moisture and everything gets in, packs up, and then the sensors can't see through the mud and stuff, so you have to get out and you have to clean the sensors. Well, those Fents have this quote-unquote air knife, and it basically blasts air on top of that sensor. You can set it for like every 30 seconds or something like that. That way it's constantly keeping that lens clean so you don't have to go down and wipe it. I think it's pretty cool. I'm really waiting on them to incorporate that to other sprayers like the Case ones and the Millers and anything that we can put that VSN system on. I do think that VSN system, though, is probably one of the most impressive technological things I've seen. They're actually got, and I'd be curious to see if something like this makes it into the game, but an augmenta system, to where they kind of had it with the precision farming. I can't remember the brand of it. Shoot. But anyways, it uses a bunch of NDVI cameras, and it goes onto the roof of the piece of equipment, and then from there it creates rates. So like it'll increase or decrease fungicide depending on the crop health. It will do a variable rate nitrogen script. It's also getting set up to where, like, if you're doing fall burn down, it'll increase or decrease. So we're not saying see and spray, like what we've seen in the game where if it sees a weed, it sprays a weed. It's saying if it sees more weeds here and they're a darker color, so they're healthier, it will increase the rate of herbicide. That way it'll do a better job of killing that weed in that area. But anyways, that's came out, I think, 2 years ago, so we've actually got to do some demos with some customers this past year, and unfortunately but fortunately we had a really, really good year in the area, and crop health is really good. So the augmenta system didn't show a huge amount of cost savings because it wasn't constantly having to do as much, but a couple areas where the crop was struggling, it did show to make a big improvement. So I think next year it'll be cool to see how it goes. It's a pretty expensive piece of equipment, but I think that's going to end up getting tied in with some See and Spray stuff. Alrighty, let's take our money. What we really need is we need a freaking power washer. There we go. That contract just paid for our power washer. Ah, dang it. Let's see if we can get our power washer loaded on this, because Lord knows I don't want to freaking carry that thing. I also don't want to spend the money to get a trailer and a truck and all that stuff just to haul it. That's where I do wish it was still placeable instead. Yeah, our baler should end up being just a default. If you got it to mod to do a selectable capacity, then obviously you can do that, which is what I utilize, because As fun as baling is, I hate just having to make trip after trip after trip after trip after trip after trip after trip, just picking up bales. Gosh dang. Well, I guess this is how we're gonna do it. Yeah, I see you on that. Fortunately, the game's not that way. I think to me, I'd rather just run the bigger bales and not have to stop so many freaking times. I am ready for like some of the hay packs. I was really happy that they paid a bit more attention to hay on this last on 22. Like they did that Kubota pack, and that Kubota pack had some good mowers. It had that fast baler with the and then had the it had the built-in wrapper on it. Man, the balers with the built-in wrappers are literally my lifesaver. Well, guys, that definitely wasn't how it's supposed to be done, but now it's done. I also do think that the water effects and everything that's going on equipment is definitely a big improvement. Like seeing your droplets and I'm a big fan of it. I'll just say that. Yeah, I've ran. Gosh, dang, it wasn't Anderson wrappers. It was they're blue and white. I can't remember the name of those right now for the wrapper, but we did that. Worked awesome, and being able to take the time on the game is fun too. What I really need is I need that Logitech game controller to make it easier and actually function like a real hydraulic stick instead of trying to utilize the mouse, which can be a pain in the butt. That'd probably be a big game changer for me at one of these points. Hopefully the stream stuff starts making some money, and then I can actually purchase one of those. That's what I'd really like to have next, because I already have a wheel set up, so all I need is that right hand panel. Well, if I get that, then I'll probably switch to utilizing my wheel. I wish, so it was funny, they had a sell on that farm sim panel deal where Logitech, you could get the wheel and the pedals and the controller on the right hand side for less than what you could buy just the panel for. It made me laugh, but it's probably what I need to purchase, but I just haven't. Oof, that is one thing that I just downloaded a mod. Let's see what it's gonna be under. Because as much as I love going and trying to carry pallets and having to run a piece of equipment all the way over there to fill up, until we get goosenecks with auto load, I'll just go ahead and buy this. Yeah, so I had a G920 for a while. I ended up going to Moza R5 for the direct drive. Big fan of a direct drive over a gear driven. There's fertilizer down here. See, the other thing I really do like about when we'll get mods is we'll get things like crop rotation, where that stuff matters. I'm ready for that to be a thing. I don't think it's a thing base game here. I could be wrong on that, but I'm ready to be able to it actually matter. Like from here, you wouldn't plant in corn right behind you, weed. It's typically always beans or a legume of some sort. Let's see here. Because I gotta decide what I want this field to be in. Yeah, honestly, I think all said and done, because I got the shifter, the clutch pedal, the deal. I've got like a good $800 or $900 into my Moza setup, and I do not use it nearly enough to have justified that cost. Thrustmaster over the panel. I could see that the stick looked more usable than what the panel does, but the panel provides more buttons, or at least laid out in a better way to, if you wanted to run like ATS or anything like that, it could be done pretty quick and easy too. Let's go load this field down with lime real quick. Like, so for like my area, what we would normally have done is you cut the weed off and everything, and then you double crop soybeans. Like, I think we probably utilize double crop more than maybe some others do. But I don't like not being able to have that ability right now. I don't think there is at least double crop that we can do. Let's find out. The one thing I could probably do is I could probably put it back to grass. I could get a cutting off of it, or at least a couple cuttings off of it. And then I could put it to soybeans or corn for next year. I kind of like the idea of that, I'm not going to lie. Because I think, especially if I was to do something like silage and wrap my bales, it could pay pretty quick. I'd be utilizing my resources a little bit better. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that, guys. Unless I got anybody that says no. But I think it'd be not a bad way to make some more money. Yeah, see, I thought that was messed up. That width is not correct. There we go. I knew that didn't look very right. I'm really curious to see what other DLC Giants is going to end up coming out with. I thought the Kubota pack and then the pumps and hoses and stuff like that for 22 was pretty good DLC in my opinion. I don't see why that would be impossible, because you could have one joystick controlling this axis and your other joystick controlling that axis without having to press like a hang on here, let me think here. Yeah, I don't know why you couldn't utilize your other joystick for propulsion. You'd essentially be setting it up on the same axis as you would a foot pedal for gas. I am so ready for precision farming to get here, though. be able to go back and have shut-offs and stuff like that. Yeah, I can't believe it wasn't base game. Somebody made the comment that like maybe precision farming for people who maybe have been around agriculture as a whole is probably a little bit tougher and confusing for them. So it could have been a deal where they just decided it was going to be like a free DLC. That way you don't have to utilize it. I thought it was makes the game so much more interesting. Like, I even think one of the things that showed up a little bit later that could have been huge early on is there was a conservation ag mod that, like, you know, put down a bigger thing of having to do a crop rotation. If you didn't bale the straw, like you left it out on the like windrows and stuff, not windrows, but you didn't windrow it, and you let it get spread, that you actually got a yield boost. Which, not that you technically get a yield boost whenever you do that, but you do pull nitrogen away whenever you take away like all the straw that would normally get left behind. So I thought that was nice. Yeah, anhydrous didn't work well. Anhydrous, it would just be like one flat rate for wheat. I don't know why we couldn't change our rates with the anhydrous side, but so anhydrous is a huge thing for us. I wish it was shown a little bit more love on here, and I really hope that somebody converts that anhydrous pack that I did for a while, because that's my like one of my favorite details about a game. Is being able to run anhydrous and fertilizer and stuff like that. Honestly, one of my playthroughs that I would really like to do is at some point in time do a whole server to where I operate as a co-op, and the only way I can make money is by doing jobs, like doing contracts. I think that might be a fun video to do and shoot. So that's multiplayer servers. They're a lot of fun. It'd be cool to do that. One of my plans, or one of my hopes for, if like the stream continues to go and get a good viewer base and everything, is like one of the paid things is actually doing a multiplayer server with people from stream and stuff. That way it kind of gets people who want to play the game, who also want to be kind of a part and talk with us and everything. Could all run on the same server and do stuff like that and do a big field and everything. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Get a lot of interaction and So, still working on getting the channel built up and the Switch built up and everything like that. Hopefully, it really takes off. I think there's a lot of really cool plans and really cool ideas. They also had a field calculator mod. That way you wouldn't even have to do all the work. You're going to say, hey, it's going to be X amount of money because I'm going to need X amount of this, and you could kind of figure it out. Just stuff like that I think is fun and cool to work on and do stuff with. So I didn't do multiplayer very much on 22. I did a lot on 19 and then a lot on 17. Nothing wrong. I still enjoy the guys I played with, and I still talk to them pretty frequently. But it was just a deal to where just run out of time. I don't like these random spots in my field that aren't taking anything. That's good. Yep, gotta have a big map for it. I will say, the Wind Chaser map, I think it's gonna be a good one. It'd be very interesting to have a good server on. The biggest issue with multiplayer is getting a good group of people who don't just get bored with it. Because it never fails that you end up, all your stuff gets done, everybody else's stuff's done, but there's one guy who hasn't been on in, you know, almost a month who's not getting on anytime. You don't want to fast forward and have all of his crops wither, because at some point in time he's going to get back on, but you hate just waiting on one guy. I do like live servers to where, like, it's going based off of real time. That you have to be there, like I don't know, probably a week long on seasons or whatever. Like, you got to be able to get on within that week and get going on it. And if you don't, then it's going to cost you, right? Yeah, pretty excited to show off the map. I'll say this little John Deere tractor has kind of quickly became my workhorse. Thank you very much for the love, Danny. Yeah, I think that's gonna be the plan is to get Winchester over to 25. Dang. Is this drill not a direct drill? What? What? This thing, you can't direct? That's crazy. Because literally, the entire point of these coulters right here is so that you can direct drill in real life. What kind of overlooked nonsense is this? Literally, that's the whole point of this. Otherwise, this could be a 3-point hitch directly onto the tractor. This right here is so that you can direct drill. What? Guys, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of bamboozled about this right now. Now I gotta run a freaking plow. Not plow, but I gotta run a cultivator. I'm so irritated by this, guys. I don't even know why, but just not making sense. But oh well. Run a cultivator, it'll get done, everybody'll be happy. Actually, we are going to run it at an angle. I'm glad that it allows us to be able to do this all at an angle, because, like, in my opinion, the best way to either cut beans, wheat, whatever, is at an angle, so you're utilizing the entirety of the cutter bar. But then whenever you're working dirt, to work it at an angle, that way you're not, you know, you're able to work with against the rows. It ends up doing a better job, in my opinion. So it doesn't mean anything at all in game, but it is something that I've enjoyed. I don't remember what difficulty I'm on. But it just feels like I've not been able to make any money yet. Fuck, I'm on easy too. Shoot. Yeah, if I'm on easy, then I'll be able to make a bunch of money whenever I do this silage. Matter of fact, I think we're just going to go ahead and turn that on up a little bit more. I think this is, because this was the very first save I did on this game. So, I think I just threw in easy to see how things were going to go with it. Clearly, I'm not making a killing. But I'm also only one season in, so... Yeah, auto load. Nothing makes you miss it more than playing a game without it. It's like one of those features like, okay, I've got it, no big deal. You don't think about it any longer, it's just there. Whenever you don't have it, it's excruciating. So I take it, Goose, you're playing on FS25 right now? I gotcha. What do you think at 25? Yeah, I feel you. I think once mods really start rolling in, it'll end up being a I don't want to say game changer, but essentially a game changer. A lot of really small things I just took for granted. I 100% agree. Uh, it does feel like a. It doesn't feel like a new game, but it feels like a very updated game. So I appreciate it. But what does kill me is the lack of equipment. Like, with the lack of equipment, I thought that Giants is going to release the editor way sooner than what they did to try to cope with the lack of stuff. But I'm just glad it's finally here. I can finally see stuff get done. And I guess, what do you think about the map itself? Obviously, we saw some mixed reviews so far, but I'm a fan of it, I guess. It'll wear out its welcome in probably about a month. I'll be done with it and ready to go on to something new. Same here. I really do think it's probably the biggest leap of difference in gameplay from 22 to 25. 19 to 22 felt more like a reskin of the same game. This feels like there's actually new features that make the game feel better. I swear, the biggest difference between 17 and 19 was basically 19 had all of the I guess maybe not 17, 19, but 19 to 22. Shoot, I'm trying to remember. Which one had seasons first? I feel like it was 19. Yeah, so because 17 seasons was a mod, but 19 it came in, and with the game, whichever iteration they did that. But I mean, the game felt pretty much the exact same, but you had like stuff in game that you normally would just got as mods. Yeah, I hear you. So I'm more in the Midwest, so it's a lot more square fields, but you'll have random woods on the ends. I'll change up it. So honestly, I feel like there's a good mixture of square fields and then like oblong or weird shaped fields on base game. I'm really ready for some new equipment. I think one of the things that gets missed on, like even through a lot of other modders, is the fact, like, we get big cultivators and big plows, but I think there's an intermediate that's bigger than 6 meters, but not, you know, a 75-foot deal. I think somewhere in the middle is missed. I really wish that they would come base game with an 875 ripper too. It's probably one of the most predominant pieces of equipment that, like a most predominant tillage piece of equipment that's out there. And I'm surprised it doesn't have the love that it deserves. But yeah, I honestly think that Farm Sim Seasons is still, as we are in 25, their iteration is not nearly as good as what the mod was. I mean, heck, your wages went higher whenever it got past a certain time. The way animals ate changed throughout different parts of the year. How much food they'd go through. Let's see here. There are some other really big things I'm trying to remember. There's some other things, but yeah, it was, that mod was goated. I'm glad that somebody released the allow cultivators to create the fields. That'll be nice that you don't have to have the a plow to merge fields anymore. Gosh dang, I screwed up. I'm supposed to start on this inside pass. This is where I go back to how nice it is that you, with the destruction and everything, that you actually have to pay attention to how you're doing your fields. Because I basically got that whole first pass screwed up because you got to go from your inner to outer, not outer to inner. And I'm so used to doing it the opposite way. Yeah, I agree, because I mean you could get down to like a 5 shank 875 all the way up to 13 shank 875, and yeah, big difference between horsepower, what you get done in a day, and all that stuff. The other one I feel like is left out, and I keep trying to get them to bite into the equipment a little bit more, is Kraus. Like, you hardly can't go to a farm in my area without a guy having a Kraus accelerator. Kraus Dominators are pretty popular too, and then the Gladiator strip till bars. I would love if we could get strip till. And then like with anhydrous mod, like being able to put anhydrous in the strips instead of it acting like a cultivator, that's another big want of mine. I take it that 450 you guys got a, is it the tier 4A or is it the earlier 450s? Those are nice tractors. I think 2015-ish. Remember those 14? I think they're 11 to 15. If memory serves me right, but they're nice tractors. Nice. How's the 450 handled it so far? I guess, what do you think of the Dominator? Oh, I guess you said you don't have a 870. Never mind. Gosh dang it. Paying attention to the chat, not paying attention to the driving. What other cultivators do we have on this game? See, whenever I think of the word cheap, I'm thinking like green Steigers. But that sounds like you guys probably got a good deal on it. I remember one time we had a guy who bought a 600 Steiger, and it was a scraper tractor that came from Georgia, and it was supposed to be auto guidance ready, not auto guidance complete. So I spent, I don't know, 2 weeks trying to figure out why the auto guidance wouldn't work. Put in all the NAV 372, 700, all that good stuff. Wouldn't work. Went through a whole bunch of stuff trying to figure things out. What ended up happening was at some point in time, somebody must have worked on it, and the steering valve must have leaked or quit working or something like that. And since it was just a scraper tractor, they didn't really care if it had auto steer or not. So they put on a steering valve from a model year older tractor, and the like 16 and newer Steigers are all can-based steering versus the old style are oh gosh, I can't remember what the term for it is, but they ended up changing the entire steering valve, so my auto steer wasn't working. So yeah, spent 2 weeks trying to finally get that figured out, and then it ended up being a pain in the butt of a job to do. With those 450s, they can always be chipped up too. On your shanks, they weren't those yield 360 bullet points, were they? Got rid of the cow farm by just going back over and selling. So like if you go into here and then go here and then go to construction, you can click on it and delete it. Back to the bullet points, Goose. Those things are freaking tanks. Like they do a lot of work, and if you ever if you were to dig up the ground behind what a bullet point did versus what a conventional point did, that bullet point does a heck of a lot more work, and I'm a big fan of that personally. Jason, have you seen? I guess I've not seen the track problem. Jason, what are you talking about on there? Yes, we will be seeing some new custom mods for too much longer. Yep, thank you very much, JB. I guess Jason and I have seen that before. I think somebody posted it online. It is a little bit laughable, isn't it? Also, I've had the deal where you like lease something or like for like a contract, and the vehicle is missing its tires. Like I had one where the back track showed up, but the front tires are missing. That's a lot of fun to try to do a contract on, but you can't do it. I think it's gonna have some bugs. I'm trying to remember what kind of bugs we saw when 22 first came out. And there's definitely some. And I feel like it's track related. Heck, that's been a while ago. I know it was fixed pretty quick, just like all the issues that we're seeing now. All of that's gonna get fixed. You can't show me, one single, gaming company that hasn't had to overcome some issues. Yeah, some software stuff would sure be nice. I will say Salford definitely does not get the love that it gets. Kind of feels like one of the dying brands out there, honestly. Else I'd really like to see a better job being done is variable size equipment. Like, it's really nice whenever we get a large implement, but it'd be nice if we had like variations of sizes, like a 25, a 35, and a 45 footer, not just a 45 footer. Finally getting there, Goose. If I recall correctly, I think Salford's trying to do a big push on their high-speed disc. Looks like guys like those quite a bit, but No, they had their one vertical tool, and the problem with it is it was a straight gang, but it had a curvy blade. But the nice thing about that is they were all on pivots, so you could turn with it in the ground. But it did not do the dirt work. It was pretty much strictly a actual vertical tillage tool. And I mean, the whole purpose of that tool is to kind of break up the stalks. That way, it gets broken up better throughout the end of fall and into winter and everything like that. But most guys still are trying to utilize a VT tool to move dirt. So whenever that Salford would not move like any dirt at all, and guys were expecting it to be a different tillage tool than what it actually was. Yeah, I got a feeling if we see any Oliver tractors, it's just going to be the old equipment. It'd be cool though. I'd love to start up like a 50s and 60s, 70s farm, utilizing old equipment. But you definitely got to wait a couple of years to do a good one of those because the mods have to get caught up on that. What cedars do we got here? Gosh dang. Woo. Went a little bit long there, just caught it just in time. I will say the shifting on the game does feel better than like what it did on 22. So we're like, okay, it'll shift here and there, but it doesn't feel right, or it'll just stay stuck in one gear the whole time. This one, it feels like whenever you get a load, that tractor actually has to make a shift. Yeah, I hope there's better pickup truck mods in general for the game, because I feel like we're kind of, or at least maybe I'm not looking in the right places to get them. I just never found a truck mod that I really loved. But as far as the seeders and planters go, I'm on the same boat as you, Goose. Like, equipment as a whole, like tractors, like medium and big tractors and all that stuff seem pretty lacking. But like, you guys have, not, like, Giants has the contract with Great Plains and everything. Like CNH, like, you utilize some of the stuff and make bigger and better equipment, I guess. I don't know if they're just relying on modders that much to make their game for them. But I was very shocked too that they didn't do more. Honestly, we're probably going to end up seeing the same, you know, like converts over from mods on air seers and stuff that we've seen since 2017. Like that Case 500T dish drill. I'm surprised nobody else has tried to revamp that one, but God, that was shoot, I can't remember if that was a 17 or a 19. But it could really use an updating. I want to say on the Kinsey, they didn't even release the new planner, did they? Yeah, so they did the 4905. So they just ported over their own mod because that's an old model for Kinsey now. They're up to the 5000 series. Yeah. Do they even have the mocktail in there? I didn't even look for that. I can probably look. I bet they have the mocktail, and I don't even know if they have a grain cart. Let's see here. Not subsoiler. Yep, so you got a mocktail. Only one size of mocktail. That's what kills me too, is like they have so many other sizes. Why are we stuck with one size? And then auger wagons. Nope, you don't even have a freaking Kinsey grain cart. One of their best known products they don't even have. I'd be really curious where all the resources went for base game stuff. Or if they're just trying to put the engine out there and say, alright guys, here, pay us $70 and then just rely on all the modders to do the rest for us. Thanks for the money. It's kind of what it feels like. Yeah, I saw that too with the Crumbler. Somebody posted that. It's just lazy, I feel like. Like, one of the things that's expected with this game is like level of detail. And to just kind of stream over something like that is crazy. I mean, heck, even if you look at the 4905 player though, if it's the same, which I'm assuming it's the same, they just ported over the one from 22. But it is lacking so much detail. So like if you looked at our planners had so much more freaking detail than what the base game did. Yes, Cater. GE got released today. And I feel you on the 3600s, and the biggest reason why I would use those is just because it was like good if you're starting from like not scratch, but you're starting a small farm. I mean that's a staple for you know, smaller farms where you can run a corn planter and have a bean planter and just utilize one, and they're easy and I freaking love the GPS. Matter of fact, I prefer Giant's GPS over like the other GPS mod for 22. The only thing that I will give the mod is you could save tracks, and I was a big fan of being able to do that. Just like, hey, here, especially for hay, because you could set your track for your windrows, and then you could just go back in with your baler after that. Um, but aside from that, I love how it does the end res for you and the headlands and all that. I'm a huge fan of that. We had a bunch of Kinseys in our area. It was really dominated by 3600s and 3660s. The original 4000s had that first generation of true rate, and that was such a bad system that it pushed a lot of guys away from Kinsey. So we've been selling more red planners than like Kinsey, and to the point where they're no longer going to be Kinsey dealers. I appreciate the love there, Gators. I think we continue to try to do everything so we can get them on consoles as well until it gets down to licensing. If we want to do a mod and we can't get the licensing for it, we kind of try not to do the mod in the first place. Or we try to work with Giants and the manufacturer, like Demco. The only reason why I think Demco is in the game is mainly because of how much we pushed to do those grain carts the first year back on 22. And then from there, I think Demco and Giants started a deal together. So that was a really cool thing that the modder itself got with the manufacturer, get the licensing and everything to Giants. I agree. I wish I could set them to work on a 5-degree heading, just for the fact of my preference is running things at a different angle than what it was planned for, aside from like corn and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's not a huge deal. Would like to see whenever course play, because I imagine they're gonna course play is gonna do its own thing. Probably incorporate in with their AI, and maybe they'll get a little bit better. Let's see here. Nope. Let's see here, wheat. Let's see what kind of contracts there are. think we're going to do some contracts here real quick. I kind of need some income. And we're going to do this one. Yeah, for straw swaths, honestly, I just kind of do it manually myself. Let's see here, where's 25 at? I'm not huge about using AI workers, but for plowing, I'm going to go ahead and let the AI do this job. That was enough money for me to let the computer go do its own thing. Raceman, I agree with you. I don't know how in the world we got J&M without being able to get gravity wagons. That's their biggest thing. Maybe it's going to come in a... what do I want to say here? It'll come with the season pass, but I'm not holding my breath. And then, yeah, JB. The Wind Chaser map, I think... we may do a little bit of showing on that one. I gotta talk with the guys, but we discussed whenever we do some showcase with the mods, we're gonna show off the map a little bit. So that's gonna be super exciting. Aside from that, I mean, hey, the gravity wagons would be so useful in game, like especially early on. Like I think pretty much everybody would probably be using a gravity wagon instead of the little trailers that we got. And it's super easy to do that mod. Like that would probably take the least amount of any of the J&M products to do. So I don't know why they didn't start with that, but oh well. Yeah, J&M's got their own seed tender. I can't remember what they're called. I just saw one the other day. But that's, you know, another thing that would have been super easy to do. Yep. That should definitely be, the baler should be coming soon. Like I said, we talked about it earlier. I don't know if we're going to wait on, wait for us to get it ready and started before, sorry, trying to think how I want to say this. I don't know if we're going to wait to release on FS22 until we can release on FS25. That way it's not a deal where somebody downloads it and then just tries to port it over to 25 and then kind of kicks us out of it. But it should be coming pretty quick. Oof. My computer did not like that for some freaking reason at all. And to be honest with you, I kind of got a tank for a PC, so I'm surprised that happened. Whew. Honestly, I don't understand why either, because that's kind of a big product and they cover a whole bunch of stuff. I'm trying to remember who all Umberfirth is under. It's like Kill Bros. Gosh, distracted driving here, guys. Sorry. Yeah, so they got Blue Jet, Brent, Kilbros, Orthman, Parker, Top Air, and Umberfirth. Yeah, I'm super surprised too that they didn't carry on that contract or agreement. I don't know why, as an ad company, you wouldn't carry on an agreement with pretty much the only farm sim game that's out there. I wouldn't hate the idea of working on getting more hay stuff out there, for sure. I think it's a very underrated aspect to the whole game. But I mean, we're gonna have our deer baler and maybe some more. I don't know. Hopefully, since GE is finally released, we're not going to be too far away from getting that seed tender back in game. Yes, I believe we're going to end up bringing in all of our stuff for the from 22 to 25 that we can. That's not going to take a massive amount of work. The only thing I wonder about is maybe our new Holland Combine. We'll probably see on that. I hope that we're going to bring our John Deere tractor over. But that sort of stuff isn't my... I don't have control over that. It only does seem like Giants fumbled the bag on some of this stuff. I really hope that they're not going to be too greedy with the whole... licensing then going forward. Right now at custom modding, there's a total of 3 of us. There'll probably be a 4th at some point in time. Can't believe we still haven't dropped our first... Oh, there we go. Finally dropped our first bale. be honest with you, it's really Patreon, and then what we're really hoping is to uh, get views on Twitch and YouTube, and we're hoping that ends up making us some money, and then therefore we can utilize more resources, pump out more mods, and keep continually high quality mods is what our goal is. But we all have jobs outside of this, so unfortunately it's not our top priority. But we love what we do, and we want to continually keep putting out great mods for everybody. So if anybody can spare some support, we do greatly appreciate it, whether it be Patreon, through tips, anything along that nature. It is greatly appreciated. Okay. Hey, Goose, thank you so much for staying on as long as you did. It was good chatting with you. I'll probably be back on tomorrow. If not, for sure I will be on Saturday. So I hope you can tune in again. It was, like I said, really good chatting with you, man. And I don't know if it's contracts that really brought this game down, but holy cow, it's really some degraded performance right now. Oh, there we go. Crazy how as soon as that contract went up, I'm back to smooth frame rate. So it's like I can only handle really 2 contracts at a time. Yeah, guys, I'm probably going to do this for about 8 more minutes and then I'll hop off and we'll do the same thing again tomorrow. Alrighty, guys. Well, thank you again for watching and your time and patience and everything. So, like I said, plan is to hopefully stream uh, tomorrow. Yeah, John Seeger just in time for me to get off. But yeah, I miss precision farming so bad. Like the shutoffs would have helped so much on that sprayer. But guys, hope to be back probably tomorrow, if not for sure on Saturday. So hope to see you all again here soon. Thank you very much.